Hello, I'm Jeremiah Reed, and this is Deadface. This is a game I made for the 70RL 2018 challenge a couple months ago. I thought I would do a developer's Let's Play because, oddly enough, nobody's done a Let's Play of my game, and that made me really sad. I did see a couple videos. There was one where Jupiter Hadley, she plays every single game, which is really impressive, and plays them for about 2 minutes. So you can't get a really good feeling what the game is. And then there was one other video that had it was a couple minutes long but had no narration. So here we go. This is the developer's Let's Play Deadface. This is the title screen. I am actually not going to read all the text on the title screen because that would be too embarrassing to read this crappy text that I wrote. But I can give you a high-level overview. Basically, you're being told here that Deadface is like a drug that makes your brain run a lot faster, like a million times. This is completely unrealistic, of course, but this is what I'm imagining. So your brain is running like super fast, and then maybe you have some like nuclear powered boots that can let you dodge bullets, and so you're like able to dodge bullets and you're able to hack computer systems really fast. So it's kind of a cyberpunk hacking bullet hell game, and the setup is that you have a bunch of zero-day vulnerabilities that you're going to use to attack this one building. And in the building, there's a bunch of corporations, and the corporations have data that you want to steal, and that's protected by these huge mechs. That's the setup. You know, pretty simple stuff. So there's 5 levels. The first here is Wolf Corporation Discrete Eco Drills. Now all these are like randomly generated corporation names and then little like taglines, and I had a pretty good time doing that. It's always fun randomly generating a bunch of weird names, and it doesn't have to be used for anything, so it's just completely flavor. Okay, so I'm walking around. I'm this little @, and what's funny in this game is that you can rotate, so my @ sign can actually do this by hitting Q and E. And I can come over here, look at the UI. If I hover over, I'll see that I'm a meat bag. So for most of the game you can play, it's just the @ sign, just a human. And then you can also get in the mechs. This is a mech here over on the left. So you see I have a condition. Basically I have 3 hit points. And I'm not going to be able to do much as just a person. I'm going to have to take over some mechs to get something done. So as soon as I walk into here, this is like this blue here is the alert. It's kind of like the field of view of this mech. This concept of alert. So this mech has its own alert level, and then there's a global alert level on the UI, and currently it's at the lowest level. But as the global alert level goes up, the field of view of each mech also gets higher. And there's a lot of things that can raise alert level. If you hack things, that raises it. Especially data, if you fire at enemies and they don't see you, it raises it because, or if even they get hit with bullets, it raises it because otherwise you could just snipe enemies forever and not take any consequences. So as I walk into the little alert bubble, there's going to be a hell of a lot of bullets that start flying because this guy is trying to shoot me. But the interesting thing is that these projectiles all move exactly as fast as I do. So I can literally just step in, step out, wait, and dodge everything. For the most part, I mean, you get into situations obviously where you can't dodge, and that's sort of the challenge. So let's see if I can hack this guy real quick without taking any damage. Okay. So I just bump into the mech, and then the second part of the game is a hacking mini game. I don't really know if there's a name for this part. You're trying to clear out this, on the left, mem dump, which is basically like you're looking at a section of memory in a computer, and this is kind of supposed to be realistic. And you'll see some numbers here. There's 8 numbers, and then on the next little area here, you actually see a bunch of wacky cryptic symbols. And so what's going on here is that these are hex numbers, like hexadecimal. So hexadecimal is base 16. It's a way that you can you can write out numbers, and it's used a lot in computing, kind of like binary is used a lot. Hexadecimal is also used. And on the right, you actually see the ASCII value of, so like this sits in 2. I believe that's hex for whatever the symbol is. That just a B? Yeah, sometimes there's like weird versions of the letters, but that's just a B, and then you have this and a heart. And so those each correspond to 2 of these numbers over here, 2 hexadecimal values. So you put 16 multiplied by 16, you have 255, and that's like, I think ASCII's only 128, but the character set I have is 255 symbols. And this over here is just flavor. The important part is that you wipe out all of these lines of memory, get them down to 0, which is a standard puzzle trope. I figured that'd be the simplest thing to do. Importantly, on the right, you have a countdown. Now, this is in microseconds, which is like 1,000,000 times faster than, like, it's going 1,000,000 times faster than real time. And that's the conceit of the game, is that you're on a drug that lets you think so fast that you're able to attack the computer like as fast as it's able to like do a security check to see if you're actually there. It's kind of wacky. But anyway, down here we have some instructions. We have a console. We can type a bunch of stuff and then get instructions, kind of. Also, these on the right, the available progs, these are everything we can run. So we can either type the name here, or you can really, the best thing to do if you can is just type the instruction. This thing in the box, run 9, run 1, run D or del D, and you can see what it does. So run D, the daybreak prog, decrement all digits. So if I run D, each one of these numbers is lowered by 1. And your goal is to get to 0, so obviously that's useful. Then you have any of these white numbers are kind of standard. They just clear out whatever the number is. So sets, clear any sets. And that does multiple. So if there's more than one sets, like here and here on the left, the second, oh, intrusion detected. So I took too long explaining the game. And this is what happens when you lose, which I haven't seen the screen in a while because I usually exit out of this before I see this, but I was kind of reminded of the like FBI warning screen. So it says, issuing neural countermeasures. Hackers will be executed in accordance with all local and federal corporate sovereignty laws and prosecuted posthumously. It gives you a reference ID and says, have a nice day. So we start back at the beginning. Okay, this is a cooler corporation title, title card. Franco Corporation. Even though I'm using this fits-to-width font, I'm kind of like jamming all of them together for kind of better kerning. It's not really like manual kerning, but to me it looks cooler when they're all jammed together like that. And then this effect in the background, oh, I'm really happy with this. So what happened is I was trying to do like a glow effect on all of the art in the game, and so I just take the sprite that's being drawn and draw it bigger in the same spot, but with like a less visible, like more transparent. And for whatever reason, I tried doing this at 2 o'clock in the morning, last night of the challenge, couldn't figure it out, and at the same time, it just did this thing. So even though it didn't really work for the glow, I think it gives this creepy, like, cyberpunk look to the corporation name sometimes. Creative ethno weapons. Wow, that is really horrifying. That's procedural generation, people. Okay, so back in the game. Maybe I'm actually going to hack something and show you how it works for real. So we come over here, and one of the things that we can hack besides the mech is, and this game does not have, it's only 4-way movement. So I can't get in between here. So I'm going to have to step into this alert. So you see this number 5, and then all these other tiles are just decoration. The 5 represents 5 data that we can take. Essentially, it's just score. It doesn't do anything other. I mean, if you take it, it raises the alert level. So it makes the game more difficult. It's basically ripped, not as elegantly, but it's ripped from 868 Hack. So let's see. This is a really simple puzzle here. We only have 2 lines. We have a really good prog here, Flux. Now, one of the interesting things, or I thought it was pretty cool, Hex has 16 numbers, right? And we don't have 16 numbers in base 10 the way we normally count, so we have to do 0 through 9 and then A through F. So we kind of combine letters and numbers. And if you think about that, 0 through 9 and A through F, it almost very closely resembles something else, which is playing cards, because playing cards are 1 through 9 and then a handful of face cards, and the face cards are usually more powerful. So that's exactly what you have here. You have these white kind of boring number cards. They're still really good, but the colored cards are like the face cards, and they have unique names, and they do special things. They both have a unique ability, and they have a standard thing where if there's 2 of that letter, here it's del F, if there's 2 Fs on one line, you can delete that row. So I'm going to just run F. That's one of the best commands. It just gets rid of the first line. And so you see I've just removed this. And my goal is to get rid of all the lines or zero all the lines out. Next, I'm going to run 1, and that will get rid of these ones. And I can't do anything else. If I actually try to run one of these, it will take away time, which is not good. So now I'm running out of time. Here, I'll show what happens. I get a seg fault, and that takes away 10 microseconds. So I'm going to lose, actually. And what I can do is these commands, you can run these too. I can hit exit, disconnect, and my alert level will go up. So I will do that. So you see the alert has gone up, and the radius, the field of view for each of these mechs is wider. You can also see at the bottom where there's that kind of pinkish purple, that's where 2 field of views from different mechs are overlapping, which naturally gives you like a more like neon, like more aggressive tone, and that's what's happening. Like you're in the purview of like 2 mechs, and that's dangerous. And then when you get 3, it's red, and then when the alert gets really high, the whole screen's red. So what we can do, we can just go right back in and hack this, which doesn't seem like there's any penalty really, but the alert level going up is really bad. And when the alert level goes up fully, the penalty at that point for exiting is you start losing health. So I have another prog, colored prog amino. So I have 2 A's on this line, 2 A's on this line. It'd be really great to del A and delete those 2 at once. And then I'm just going to start looking for numbers very quickly and running them. 3, and I don't have anything else. So these are very important commands. I can get more programs by typing load, but they're not going to get rid of the ones already here. I'd only get 2 because you kind of have a quote-unquote hand size. If these are playing cards, then this is your hand over here. And load also takes time. It takes 20 microseconds away. So I've only got a limited number of times I can do this, and to get the most usage out of it, I want to free if I don't have anything useful here that I might be able to use later. And I'm going to load. So I can just type, these commands here. One other thing is that I didn't have this initially, but I noticed this thing up here is called Quint, and the command itself is run 5. So I'm expecting people to type run 5, but I noticed people would just type the name. So you can also type the name. That's like an alias to the command. So daybreak is always good. You can just run that a couple times. But before I do that, there's an 8 here. And I can run 8, and that will get rid of 2 8s. And there's some 4s, so I can type tetrad like this, and that will, it says alias of run 4, it gets rid of the 4s. Can't do anything with 5, but I will run D a couple times. And then I'm going to free that one and load. So obviously this game is real time. That's probably the least hacking part, like the hacking part is the least roguelike-y part of the game. And I'm almost about to die, so I'm going to... It looks like I made this game really hard. Run C. Okay, I didn't explain that one because I didn't have a lot of time, but C will remove any line that has 3 or fewer non-zero numbers. And that's kind of like a good cleanup, because as you're getting the numbers down, you have a few stragglers. It's really hard to get rid of the last few. C is always a good cleanup. We have this message: corporate data hacked. You stole 5 data. The most you can get in the game is 50 data, by the way. Each level has 10. There's 5 levels. Pretty simple. So the alert level also just went up for doing that. And it doesn't always go up by 1. Sometimes it'll go up less. It kind of depends on the number. And there's items. I just picked up a nano gel, which I don't think that was kind of dumb because it's not really going to do anything. So I need to decide if I'm just going to outrun this guy, which I may try to do, and then pick up this, an ego prog, So what these do is you can pick up sort of the playing like the face cards, as I said, the colored progs, and you will start with that when you do the next hacking. There's not really like a displayed inventory. You just see the ones you have here: A, B, C, D, E, and F. So I just picked up one E. And the number card, like the lower number card, is not really that exciting. So that's why there's just A through F. Okay, let's see if we can hack this one other one here. Now, as the alert level gets higher, there's more lines, there's less time, the game itself gets harder because of those two things. And we downloaded this E from our inventory. E is really good. Ego. Now, if you have 4 E's, you basically win every round, because if you take a number, like take 16 as the highest number, or you could say 15 is the highest you're going to have, right, which is F. So if you take F and divide it by 2, and then I don't know exactly how the game handles it. I think it truncates it. So you'd get like an 8 or something, or maybe you'd get a 7. I'm not really sure. But anyway, if you do that 4 times, you're down to 0. So you'll actually see that as I type E multiple times. And all I have is 1s. I'm going to free these, load, and I can run either 1 or E or F. Well, F would just get rid of 1. I can run either E or F to just win. Okay. Now the alert level is up to 4, and shit is about to get bananas. And I think one of the complaints I've had so far is that the game is really hard. Although I've also had people tell me it's too easy, so you never know how to balance these things properly. Although I guess I should have known that I have a lot of trouble with the game, and that probably should have been a clue that it's too hard. So I'm going to just hack this guy. And now you see, like, because the alert level is high, everything is filled up, and we've really got to beat the clock here. So we're just going to run D. Oh, wait, so C is good to save till the end, but also I've got this line here with 2 C's, so I'll do a del C. Run 1, run 5, load. Now, Amino is an interesting one. It just randomizes everything, and that could be awful. It could turn something... The zeros never get randomized. Everything else does. So some things can just turn into zeros. You have a small chance of that happening. There's another pair of C's, or 2 pairs of C's. So I can get rid of 2 lines. I can get rid of the top line. And let's see what else we have. Run D. 5, 4. Yeah, before there was a penalty for typing commands that like didn't do anything. You just type everything, and that was pretty boring. So here I run into an interesting strategic situation where maybe I don't want to get rid of C because I might need it soon, but I don't also want to run 4, and there's no way to individually get rid of 4. So I can just load, and that is not great, but we can type, yeah, so we can randomize, then maybe we'll get something that we can do. So we can get rid of 2. We can run C to get rid of the top line, free, load, and hopefully you'll start getting the hang, or you'll get the understanding of what's going on. I'll probably narrate this a little bit less. And C is going to work because as long as we have 5 or more zeros, which means we have 3 or fewer non-zero numbers, then we're good, and that will get us the win. Now things are going to go really crazy here. So I've taken over this mech. And all the mechs have kind of wacky names based off of famous computer scientists, programmers. So this one is the Loveless Bantam. And I actually don't know if I'm pronouncing either of those words correctly. So you'll have to forgive me. So one thing I wanted to do this year is have a game that was multi-tile. And roguelikes typically do not have anything multi-tile. Every enemy, every character, everything in the game consists of one tile moving on a grid from space to space. And I kind of broke convention with Dumazid in 2015. With that game, you couldn't really control individual tiles, so I wanted to do something a little bit different. What's really cool is that there's another game, East Bagelship, now I think has been renamed to Star-Shaped Bagel or something. You should go play that, which is amazing. And you can also have multiple tiles, and they have weapons, and you're a giant bagel ship, and it's great. So in here, each one of these tiles does something different. This is a battery. Can't really do anything with that. And also, I shouldn't have clicked on it because that's gonna wait, even though I can't do anything. The center is like your core tile. That's kind of something also pulled from Dumazid. So if this gets destroyed, you're boned. And on the left and right, we have machine guns. Oh, the core tile. Not only is it your kind of like your HP, for the whole thing. And you see I have 3 HP. I also have 3 HP on my character, but if the mech gets blown up, I'm just dead. So this core is also, it's called a CPU/minigun. It also will fire 1 bullet, like slowly. So it's kind of a last resort of a weapon. I have a drill here. Drills are really only useful for just smashing things. Well, obviously, but the thing about this game is you can destroy tiles in such a way that they can't be used anymore, and I'll show you that in a minute. But what you can't do is you can't go through them to the next tile. You can do that with projectiles, but not with melee. That's something that maybe I'll change. I don't know. So what I'm going to do, and every time I click on one of these, it's going to take up a turn. I'm going to turn on my machine guns. Now, you'll also notice that this machine gun takes up 2 voltage, and I only have 4 voltage between the CPU, which supplies 1, and I know it has like a built-in power supply, and the battery supplies 1. Then I only have room for 4, or it supplies 3. I have 4 in total. So I am fully booked up. I'm using 4, and I'm going to start shooting bullets. These things also have there's a lot going on here, but these things have a condition, they have a charge, so they will charge up. This one only has a charge of 2, so like it'll basically fire every 2 turns, I think, and then it has the voltage. And I'm going to start turning around because there's no real aiming in this game, like a mouse aim. You only shoot in 4 directions, which it kind of is a little bit strange and a little bit ham-handed, but it kind of works. That is not the right word at all, but oh god. That thing just blew up. And I'm trying to kill this guy. What makes it really hard is that the mechs are constantly like jumping around, and it's kind of hard to tell where you're going to get hit. And what else is hard about driving a mech is that when I'm a quote-unquote meat bag, I can run around super fast. I can run around with the same speed as projectiles. But when I'm in a mech, it doesn't really apply. Each mech is slower. Some of them are 5 times as slow as bullets. So whenever I take a turn, these bullets are going to take like 2 turns. And so you see a bullet here. At first I used circles, but you couldn't see where they were coming from. So now we have arrows for bullets. This bullet's coming in, and it's going to hit me, and it's going to hit the drill. And the drill still has 3 condition left, so the drill can kind of eat some damage. But once the drill is gone, then things will go straight through and hit my core tile. So you'll see this. Yeah, it goes down to 2. It's flashing red. And I'm trying to get this guy's core tile down to 0. Oh, and there's like a little enemy here. Another thing is I can just literally ram into things. And I have a drill, so I can just drill this guy. It has to be active, which... So we click on things to make them active. Oh, I can't do that because I don't have enough power. Huh, yeah. Wait a minute, what's going on? Dead. Oh, no, the drill takes 3 voltage. I was confused as why that was not working. I'm going to get slammed with some bullets here, though. So these 2 are already dead. All I have is my CPU, my battery, and my machine gun. I can ram into this guy with my gun, or I can ram into him with my basically dead drill. Even though it's dead, it can still be used to kind of like attack melee. And my core was hit, game over. So you see the game is pretty tough. One thing you can do is just play in a stealthy fashion. So this is the elevator here. I'm just going to go straight up. Henderson Peterson Collective. One-of-a-kind liquids. Now as you're going up and the alert gets higher and higher, one thing that you're going to want to do is try to get the alert back down. So I can steal this 9, and then I can use this tile, which is like a little music note, to reduce the alert by, I think, 3 steps. So here I'm going to have a lot of options. I could randomize everything and see if anything is better. And then, yeah, so now it's a choice between, do I want to delete the line with 2 E's or just half everything? Having everything's usually the best way to go. And then I can just, let me run E, and then I just need one more thing. Yep, okay. So because it was 9 points, alert level went up quite a bit, but I can get in here and I can turn the alert level back down if I successfully hack this. So as you can see, this hacking mini game, it's real time. It's not turn-based. I kind of would struggle to come up with a turn-based hacking game, but I'm sure it can be done. And there's got some hexadecimal influence. It's kind of influenced by stuff I have read about with computer security and viruses, but very loosely. So none of it's going to seem, if you actually know anything about this stuff, it's not going to seem realistic at all. But I'm just playing with metaphor and analogy here. But I think people have told me this is probably the most fun part about the game is the hacking once you get used to it. Because the mech side is a little bit harder. Yeah, blowfish is used to shift things off to the left. And so the bottom line will shift 2 off to the left. They'll come up to the next line. Then the top line, 2 will just come off. So you're slowly getting rid of numbers that way. Obviously, this game really, you'll do a lot better if you can type faster. And there's not really, I don't know, a good way to make that fair for everybody. I'd have to really think about that. So I hacked that, alert levels back down to 1. And there's one of those on every level, so if you can do that successfully, you can steal a good bit of data. But still, if you steal every bit of data, that alert level's still going to get up to a very high number at the top. Custom cyber solvents. We got a bunch of items here. All right, let me try to get into one of these. First, let me grab this health. Picking up health is really important because sometimes you just, as hard as you try, you can't really dodge everything. I'm going to try to get into this guy here. He has rockets, and rockets are really badass. I don't know how boring this is to watch without narration. So I'm just going to try to go through it as fast as I can now. Run 2, run D, that's it. Okay. Now, these guys here, they have lasers. I don't think I have any lasers on my Hellman cruiser. The problem with the lasers is they just shoot through everything, except there's one counter to that. They won't go through shields, and I have a bunch of shields on here. So first thing I'm going to have to do is like turn around, maybe. Oh, see? Everything on here just got hit. So I'm going to enable these shields. They should do a good job of protecting me from the front. Shields are a little bit more complicated. I should take a moment to explain. First, like anything else, they have to charge. So they have 3 charge. So in 3 turns, they'll activate, and they'll stay activated. They'll turn blue. And at that point, they can eat like 1 hit of damage from a physical projectile. But a laser, they'll just completely block lasers. So they're actually sort of a counter to that guy. But then at the same time, my other stuff is probably going to get hit pretty quickly. And, well, let's just see how much stuff I can do here. Turn on this. And, yeah, so the 4-way movement, as you can see, is a little bit awkward. Because I get into a point where I can't hit with the diagonal, I can't aim. I'm just trying my best to get lined up. And there's some cool explosion effects. You see, like, it goes from white to orange. This guy's blowing up. This is really fun to do all this, but it's going to be awful for my alert level. Oh yeah, so I don't know if I explained. These little red triangles are rockets. And they basically what you would expect. They blow up on impact and do a hell of a lot of damage. Okay, so reevaluating, I don't have any weapons on this guy. So, no, wait, do I? Yeah, I don't really have weapons. So I can try to just ram him. That may not work so hot, though. Or I can hit escape to jump out of the mech. Now, one of the problems I need to fix with this game, maybe in another update, is whenever you hit escape, it triggers something on the itch site that escapes from full screen. And you'll see this mech, I jumped out of him, out of it. I don't know why I just gendered a mech, but whatever. I think I tried to do like a 50-50 split of, or close to 50-50 split of like men and women for the names. So there's like Liskov, Hellman, there's like 6 different mechs or something. Anyway, this mech, I took him over. There is the heart. It's going to try to keep attacking this guy even though it doesn't really have a lot of bullets. Ow. I think for the most part I've showed off the game, and maybe I'll just go for a run where I try to... Maybe I'll just finish off this run and see if I can actually get out. Because things are kind of going to hell. Yeah, things are going pretty bad. Okay. I got 200 milliseconds. You get more time if you have more lines, but also those 6 lines can be pretty tough to tackle. Are there any 4s? Don't see any. So a lot of this hacking is just figuring out like what you can type, what you can't type, and just typing it. But sometimes you run into strategic or tactical decisions about what order to run things in. So if I have, let's say I run a 1, so I don't have 7, anything to run 7 or 8, but if I run A, then, well, there was at least the chance that one of those could be a 7 or an 8. But then the problem is I start getting higher numbers, whereas before I was going lower and lower to 0. Let's try it again. A. Okay, as you can see, I've done a bunch of loads. That's really bad. And I'm going to have to just exit. And that is awful. Now everything is completely lit up like a Christmas tree. Okay, let's focus and try to actually beat this game that I made way too hard, right? Get rid of 2 lines with E. 1, 2. Okay, great. I can delete A and shift that one off. Free load F. There we go. Now we're down to 2 alert, which is not perfect, but now we need to get to the elevator, which is basically just stairs. Can pick up, maybe we can pick up some health over here. Also, all the walls are destructible. So there's little, you can kind of see some debris at the top. do I want to hack anything on here? Let's just go to the Nets level. Maybe we can get the alert level down. This gets a little bit hard, as you can see, to be stealthy. I may have to just... I can go to the Nets level. Lucas Corporation. Okay, so this is the final level, I believe. And I usually just like trying to get the... There's like one really big mech called the Norvig Super Heavy. And my favorite thing is just trying to take that over. So that is what I'm going to try to do. Obviously, there's just sprays of bullets here. Okay. And I don't have a lot of time on this one because this is supposed to be a very hard hack. What? Del B? Yeah. No, I don't need a free because there's nothing there. Okay. On E. Wait, I can just see. Cool. I have to be careful here because even though this guy is just a huge tank, it can still get destroyed. Not really that unlikely. I have a flamethrower, so I'm just going to turn that on. See if we can do some damage. I'm turning on my shields. To some extent, I want to try to block as much. Nothing else matters but the core. And obviously, as things get destroyed, I can't use them for weapons anymore. But I don't want to get killed. And it takes, like, forever just to turn everything on, as you can see. Oh boy. Yeah. This is nuts. And now I have to question, do I want to turn around and fight these other people? That's probably for the best, because this little guy is probably less of a threat. So this guy, the speed, does it even have a speed? I don't remember if I put that in the game. Yeah, I mean, it's just so big. I think it takes 5 or 6 turns. Every time I make a 90-degree turn, everything else gets to move 5 spaces. And obviously, I don't think anyone is making really granular strategic decisions about all the crap on the screen. It's just sort of move around and try not to get killed. Oh, I just love this part. Oh, man, okay. See, I told you it's possible. It's possible to get killed in that guy, even though like it's a huge tank with a bunch of health. Let me just rush to the top if possible. I want to try to take over that mech one more time. Getting a lot of health, that's good. I mean, there's plenty of items in the game. One thing I've learned is always try to aim for the easy. Like, if you have to choose between hard or easy, go easy, because people, if it's too hard, they just won't play. They may play it once if it's too easy. They may play it 0 times if it's too hard. All right. I think this might be like the 4th level. Can I take this guy over? This game could definitely use some music and sound effects. That's something I'd love to add if I get the time. some like beeping. I mean, one of my favorite games of all time is Uplink, and I just imagined I wanted to put in like a little beeping every 10 seconds to really just breathe down your neck with the intensity of like, you know, you're about to get, your brain is about to get fried, or however it's supposed to end. Oh, crap. That was not good. I have to do this again. Okay. 120 microseconds. I think. Oh, man. Well, if I don't get this, I'm probably going to die. Is it just lack of practice, or am I really that bad? I'm probably that bad. That's okay. Run A, run D, load. Oh. All right, I'm gonna give it one more shot. I think it's the alert level is so high. And I was doing some risky stuff, really. Because when you run the randomize, anything could happen. Bad stuff. There we go. Yeah. This mech doesn't have that much power. So I'm gonna have to, I want to really like use shields, but I'm gonna have to go sacrifice a little bit. Oh boy. And of course it keeps going on. Yeah. Well, that's been Deadface. You can go check that out on itch.io, which is with the first year that 70RL has been hosted there. And the judging just wrapped up. I saw that the game got first place, like totally happy with that. Let me know what you think about Deadface.